me. We also have Jennifer, who works for the foundation, and we have Alex from Lighthouse Labs. So that's the three main people that are running this part of the program. Once we get into it, there'll be more people from both sides. But that is essentially who you have on the phone today. And I always like to, this was actually some feedback on the first one that I did. We've done three of these. A little bit myself, so I kind of talked about that. So you can see that I was a tanker and started with the Governor General's Horse Guards, then did some time with the Dragoons. I retired and did 10 years. I retired in 2003. I saw both, full-time and part-time service during that. I still like to give back. So, every year, actually, it's funny because I get to see my regiment parade twice, which was the Queen's Plate and the Royal Horse Show, which they are the honorary guards for both of those events, and two events that I go to every year. So I still get to see them, but I also participate with the Horse Guards Association. So that's all the ceremonial budget spend and what we do. And last year, God, it seems like forever away. We went to Italy and erected two monuments for the Italian campaign that we have battle honors for, etc. So that's a little bit about me. There's a little bit of my background. The funny picture on the right is that's actually my uncle. So he was a paratrooper. And so, we had a few people in our family that served. High-level goals is to help veterans and their families. We've got sort of two sides to the program. This is sort of the tech side. We also have an art side, right? So soldiers in the arts and soldiers in tech is the two big themes. So this is one of our big pillars. Really, one of the goals is also to train organizations and level their understanding that there's this massive, untapped, valuable resource that exists in our veterans, and that they are something that will give you actually lots of advantages over just generally hired people. And I think once you kind of walk them through if you were to describe what a good employee's characteristics are, you will describe most veterans, right? On time, diligent, pay attention to detail. You put all those things together, what we have to be to essentially survive the military are things that you want in employees. And we're problem solvers, right? I'm sure you probably, I don't know if you took your JLC or anything like that. We're actually taught to be managers and managing people and moving of resources and all that. And that kind of comes out of the box with veterans. And most people just don't know about it and they're not educated. So it's really a big part of this is to educate the corporate world on the asset that exists. And then we want to also assist those companies, right? So there's a benefit to them is that we're actually bringing great talent to them. And it saves them money, right? A lot of times they have to pay agencies to go find people. We're essentially providing that service as a value add, right? So, we're providing value not only for the veterans, but also for the companies that hire them. And, it's really also about, prosperity in the workforce and also for Ontarians and Canadians. Obviously, we're Ontario based, but again, the foundation is across obviously the entire country, so coast to coast on that one. So the idea there is that obviously many of us who served, whether it be your skills are not transferable. So something that you did is I still had to go get my PAL. And I had to pay $50. I'm like, I don't understand why, that wouldn't be free for a veteran. And automatically we gun safety is the first thing that we learn next to marching. And a lot of these skills are not transferable. So we're working on, helping transition from being a soldier to a civilian in a way that allows us to really get a leg up and get credit for the things that we did, as serving members for our country. And so we feel that there's two things. One is tech is on fire. You're only unemployed if you're in tech, if you just don't want to be employed. We still have trouble, finding top talent. And so, and also we'll get into the pay raise. I'm not going to take any thunder away from Alex's slides. But it's also not just to survive, but really thriving. It's a huge opportunity financially. That allow us to probably achieve some of our career and monetary goals that we want as well. Obviously, none of us made a ton of money in the military, so none of us got rich there, but there is huge fiscal benefits. And then obviously on the art side, it's very therapeutic, and there is also lots of job opportunity on that side. So that's why we focus on those two things. We did a play, the foundation put on a play last November called Soldier On, which we brought over from the UK, which is about, I know that PTSD is not a sexy topic, but it adds some levity and some humor, and also just brings to light that it's not a stigma. So that's why we wanted to tell that message. And we had, two generals come. General Fraser actually came, who ran the Afghan campaign. And so it resonated both with civilians and with service members. So my regiment came, quite a few of them. So it was really a really great thing to put on and see how people then started conversations with civilians to explain what it's like being both a serving member as well as a veteran. So really trying to also change the shape. One of the things that we talk about is when you say veteran, automatically, and I still do it. So I can still say, like, don't think of a black dog trick. Because the first thing you all did was just thought about a black dog. It's that when we think about veteran, we think about that 75-year-old at the Legion sipping on a Labatt 50, right? And just, relaxing. And really the face of veterans are vastly different than that now, right? They are male and female. They come from every walk of life, and they're at every age from in your 20s to, up into their 80s and 90s. So really trying to also reframe it so people understand what a veteran looks like and what they are, and some of the values as well as challenges. So that's really why the foundation exists. And then Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the great work that you guys do at Lighthouse.
Sounds good. So as Roland said, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the technical side of the training. So who is Lighthouse Labs? So Lighthouse is a technical education institution with a focus on data science and web development. For a little bit of history, Lighthouse was founded in 2013 by a group of developers who were looking at this vast technical talent gap in Canada and thought that there had to be a better way to, quickly train people to become developers without having to go through an often very lengthy and expensive four-year university degree. So since then, we've graduated over 2,000 developers into the Canadian market, which is an accomplishment we're definitely very proud of. Okay, so this program is designed for beginners. The goal of our web development program is to transform you into a professional developer. So you're going to come to understand coding logic using popular frameworks such as JavaScript and Ruby and Rails, while also learning how to think like a programmer by building software from the ground up. So there are four main components to this program that will launch you into your first junior developer role. So the first is obviously the technical training. That is training in both front-end and back-end development. So you are ready to apply for a job as a full stack developer, or you can decide to go one of two ways, front-end or back-end. It's up to you. There is final projects. So you're going to be engaging with employers to showcase your final technical project in teams. There's a big presentation at the end that is done. It's all done online right now, but we have anywhere from 200 to 300 people watching that every month. So it's a big fun kind of celebration at the end of your training. There's also career services. So there's going to be individual support and workshops to help you land your dream developer job. And of course, wellness support, which I'll let Roland and Jen talk about later. Okay, so this is just a breakdown of what the 12-week program looks like. So our first intake will be starting on August 17th. Before the course even begins, we're going to set you up on a prep course that's going to take about 40 to 60 hours to complete. And the reason for that is we want to make sure everybody's on the same page before they start on day one. You're going to have like a whole new desktop environment that you're going to be working with. So we want to make sure that you've had the practice and the chance to really get used to it before you start the course. So week 1 and week 2 are just sort of basic computer science fundamentals. Weeks 3 and 4 is when we start really diving into back-end, front-end, and databases. So if you want a full breakdown of the languages and stuff that you're going to be touching, I can send that over to you after. We have a curriculum packet on our website too that you can take a look at. So week 6 is midterm week. It's actually your first chance to work in teams to build a web or a restaurant takeout app from scratch. So week 7 through 8 is React weeks. Week 9 and 10 is Ruby and Ruby on Rails, which is a really popular sort of hipster language that's used by Shopify, Airbnb. All of those sites are built on Ruby and Ruby on Rails. And finally, weeks 11 and 12 are your final projects. So that's an opportunity for you to work in groups again and really come up with whatever website it is that you want to build. And what's really cool is you will have the skills to do that. So you can think up of anything and you'll be able to build it. Okay, so what will you be able to create? So our curriculum was created to simulate a real developer's job environment. You'll be exposed to, industry relevant technologies. All of our languages and our curriculum change pretty much monthly, just because we have to constantly be looking at what the industry is using. That's the tough part about being involved in education, specifically having to do with technology. It changes so fast and we kind of have to follow that. And so by being exposed to these technologies, you're going to immediately reinforce that knowledge by building applications and completing daily programming projects. So you're going to be exposed to pair programming in order to, expose you to looking at other people's code. You're going to be exposed to problem solving and debugging, which is probably the most important skill that you're going to acquire and practice as a developer. And the goal is to really get you as job ready as quickly as possible. So most of the learning you'll do is in the year after boot camp on the job. No one's expecting that after 12 weeks, you're going to be a senior software developer. So what we want to make sure is that you have the portfolio to show for it, to show that you can go and apply for those junior developer roles. So as I said, there's the weekly individual projects, there's the 2 group projects, and all of those you'll be submitting on GitHub, which is open for employers and recruiters to see. And of course, there's the final demo day, which is also in front of employers. So there's sort of 5 main things I want to reinforce about the technical training and how you're actually going to be learning, because this is a very different style of education than your typical, college or university course, or even your typical online course. So one, it's extremely, extremely hands-on. So there's only 2 hours of lecture per day. The rest of the day is spent hands-on keyboard, working on those projects that I was talking about and working through the curriculum. It's very project-based, as I just said. So again, developing mini apps and working on projects. There is a lot of mentor help. So you're gonna have on-demand access for 8 hours a day of mentorship. And just to clarify, mentorship is essentially like a teaching assistant. But our teaching assistants are all developers who are working part-time or even working full-time and working for us, either in the evenings or during the days on their off hours. So they all have really current understanding of the job market. So they're also great people to network with. And the reason that we have, so much mentor help is the fact that it's fast-paced. So this course is 10 hours a day with, and as I said, that's 60 hours of prep work. So you really have to be committed to, sitting in a space in your home for those 10 hours. And that does include, of course, some breaks and lunch and dinner and things, but that is the commitment there. It's, as I said, it's extremely fast paced. So there's a lot of time that needs to be put into those 12 weeks. And finally, the course is fully online. So fully remote mentorship, lectures, and engagement.
So just to talk a little bit on the point of the fast pace, one of the things that I like about the program and when I think about our stuff is, we're 10-hour day for a military person is not actually a long day. The second thing is that if you wanted to take this and actually, we do hire people with degrees that have a bachelor, of technology and science and stuff like that. But we don't hold that even at a higher level than someone might come out of Lighthouse Labs, because often there's more practical stuff that comes out of that.
Yeah.
So from even a hiring perspective, instead of putting several years, you come out of the military, then you've got to kind of support yourself and do this training. What I like about this is literally 3 months. It's very solid, and you're going to end up with the equivalent or better of a multi-year university program. So for us, getting veterans productive and also the light at the end of the tunnel is much brighter when it's not 3 years away. right? So this allows you to really condense that and become valuable to the workforce, and obviously make a great income
Yeah.
in a much shorter time. So
Yeah.
that's why I love this program. It's just structured for you to be successful fast.
Yeah, and this sort of, just to touch on, we had a group graduate in Ottawa 3 weeks ago now, and they were all hired by the federal government within 5 days. So people get hired really quickly, which is this stat here. So we see an employment rate of 93% within 120 days of graduation, and that is in a junior developer role or a developer role, and of course fully paid. We do not accept any unpaid internships as part of like the employment statistics with our course. And the other thing I want to touch on is the salary. So $52,000 is the average first salary that we see post bootcamp. Anyone will tell you that a good developer will make anywhere from $80,000 or up within a few years of work. But for starting something new and doing it in 12 weeks, $52,000 is definitely nothing to smirk at.
And just to share with you, and at one company, I'll just give you the one stat, is that usually I would say ours comes in around this, maybe a little bit higher, but usually people are into the the 70s within their first year. If you're good and you work hard, it's almost like you can pretty much get through your first year. It's like your trial year. If you do that and they like you, you're already up to 70. And then some developers, I some can be north of 150. I just got to be careful of privacy of my own people. But like a senior developer can make north of 150,000 a year in this economy. So
Yeah.
lots of opportunity. And that we're talking about someone who might only have 7 years of actual coding, right? So you're not talking a long period of time to get there, right? So
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very fast-paced career. So a large part of this program is the career services program. So our guiding belief, as I said before, is that most of your training will be learned on the job, and your first year working as a software developer can be seen as paid, highly intensive training. So the main function of the career services portion of this program is to help you land your first job. So what do we do? The career services team at Lighthouse will send out your resume and promote you to a huge network of employers wherever it is that you're looking to get hired. They're also going to help with scheduling and following up on interviews on your behalf. And starting in week 6 is actually when we're going to start hosting workshops like our resume writing workshop, our technical interview workshop. We have a whole bunch of things that will help you sort of transition your current resume into what a developer resume needs to look like. And of course, we're also there to provide support. So advice on situations like networking, relocation, salary negotiation, all of that. We've also recently launched a career accelerators program. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we have even post bootcamp that you will always have access to as an alumni with Lighthouse. So that means if you land your first job as a developer, within 2 years, you're like, yeah, okay, I've had enough of this company. I'm looking for something else, or I'm looking to get more into the back end. You can always come back to us and we'll be there to support you and help you find that next role. So career services is lifelong with us.
So, we wanted to build this program for veterans. We didn't just take the off the shelf thing and go, here, it's for veterans. So we know that for some of us, might not even have thought of a career in technology, or that's even an option for them. Some do, but some don't. We want to make sure, though, that those who say, this does sound really exciting to me, but I'm uncertain, or what if I have a bad day or a bad week, whatever it may be. We want to make sure that you're all supported, right? So we have those saying to generals that said they would make their time available to mentor and give support. We've got 2 psychologists that actually have partnered and offered their time up as part of the program. And so whatever type of support and services and wellness stuff that you need, we pretty much have at the ready in relation to all the other things that are generally applied, obviously, for citizens. We are constantly going to be in contact, right? So you're going to have a high touch with all a bunch of different people, not that the instructors or the wellness or whatever. It's going to be kind of everybody. And you can take as much or as little as you want, but we'll definitely do some one-on-ones, and there'll always be a weekly checkup to make sure you're on target you're feeling good and motivated, and that you're gonna be successful at the end. So wellness is a separate thing that we built around this to make sure that we have 100% success rate with the veterans that go through the program. So I don't see Jen. Okay,
Yeah.
usually I get her to do this slide. So it's really, really simple. We made this thing, I've got a lot of feedback from veterans that I've talked to across the country about different programs that foundations and support organizations put on. And it can really rub people the wrong way if it's not done well, or if people feel excluded or not accepted. So we worked really hard, especially with Lighthouse, to make this a very simple process. If you have any service of any sort with the military, you're eligible, and you just basically do a checkpoint so that we know that your expectations match. And that's essentially what Alex does, is make sure that your expectations are set properly. And then you sign up, and it's that simple, right? So we're looking to accept people, not reject them. It's really about just making sure that your expectations are set properly, and that we're just checking that you have military service. So very, very straightforward. The application process, Alex, I'm gonna let you do this one.
Sure.
As well.
So yeah, the first part of the application process is there is an online Google form that is on the Roland Gossage Foundation website. So I'll make sure to link that in the chat just when I finish chatting about this part. So that's the first part. As soon as you apply, you're going to get an email from me that just says, here's some practice work if you want to get started. Here's access to the prep work if you want to get started already. So we give that to you right away. And then we're going to invite you in to come and meet the Lighthouse Labs team. So it'll be myself and probably our admissions manager. And we'll just have a chat about expectation setting, as Roland said, and be able to answer your questions that you have. Because I'm sure after this, you'll go and do a lot of your own research on us and have some questions. So that's what we're there for in that part. And then after that, there will be a technical interview. So that's just done one-on-one with one of our instructors. We'll give you pretty clear instructions on what to study. It's fairly basic stuff, but we just want to make sure and give you the opportunity to actually expose yourself to code before you start, if you haven't already. So that's what the technical interview is there. And then there's a final just chat with, I believe it's Roland, for him to get to know you.
Yep, that's essentially what it is. It's kind of the end. It's the final meet and greet, right? So I definitely want to come along this journey with everybody as well. This is the first year that we put it on, so put out there. We think it will be a very big success, and also then we can add additional slides to this of what the outcome was for this particular program with veterans, right? So we'll have updated stats and whatnot. But no, this is good. I think that the other thing just to mention, and I probably should put this in somewhere, is we're actually going to provide the hardware for you. So we're going to get you a developer quality laptop. You get it as part of the program. It's yours to have going forward. And so you can continue your journey. Chances are you're going to go right into an employer who's going to give you yet another laptop. But this can be your at-home, Skunkworks, learning computer at home. And that's part of the program that we offer as well.
Yeah.
So in that, I'm going to turn it over to you who's, let me try that again. You who have joined, and see if you guys have any questions.
Roland, can you hear me? I don't know. Oh, sorry. I wanted to go first.
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
No, it's Saj from True Patriot Love. Sorry, I was just having technical difficulties. Camera's not working. Probably a good thing not to put my ugly mug on camera. But no, I just wanted to say comments about how tremendous this program sounds, and just wanted to give you guys a real big thumbs up. I mean, it's fantastic. I guess my quick question was, I think it looks like in the top left corner that it's being recorded, because I do want to share this amongst my I shared the invite for my people in my reserve unit. I think some of them were not available, but I do want to share the recording with my soldiers and my